Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Today we're discussing the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, which is observed annually on February 6th to raise awareness and advocate for the elimination of this harmful practice. This day highlights the urgent need to end female genital mutilation by 2030, focusing on the health, human rights, and gender equality of girls and women affected by it. The campaign aims to mobilize efforts globally to support survivors, promote legal reforms, and change societal norms around FGM. Ahead of the International Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM, it's vital to focus on the challenges surrounding the practice. Female genital mutilation remains a severe human rights violation affecting millions of girls and women worldwide. Although progress has been made with fewer girls undergoing it than 30 years ago, the practice still persists. With the UN's goal of eliminating FGM by 2030, efforts need to intensify, focusing on survival-led initiatives, community engagement, and human rights. 2025's theme is Step Up the Pace, emphasizes on strengthening alliances and movements to end female genital mutilation. Joining us this morning is Augustine Victoria. She's an Ogunvu change leader. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so of course we have made progress so far, but at this point in 2025, the theme is to step up the pace. We have just 5 years to what the UN's goal is, which is to end female genital mutilation. Why do you think this practice is still being held right now, even in 2025?
Hey, hi everyone. Why I feel like the change, first of all, my name is Victoria Augustine. I am a change leader with Mubu Collective. In 2025, female genital mutilation is still being practiced with new hotspots emerging because the first reason why I feel like this is being practiced is because implementation of the criminalization of female genital mutilation is not being upheld. You know, we've heard of cases where we've seen cases of female genital mutilation still ongoing. Yet, so far in Nigeria, we've not had any case of prosecution of any offender. There's no documentation of any offender being prosecuted for female genital mutilation. So if people know that they can go away with these practices, they can practice mutilation and not be prosecuted for this criminal practice, then I feel like that is one of the reasons why female genital mutilation is still ongoing in 2025.
So
also, another...
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so another reason why this is being still widely practiced, it is because female genital mutilation is deeply rooted in cultural, traditional, and religious beliefs. So if we can be able to penetrate, most especially the cultural and the traditional practices, probably look for alternative measures, because in some places, in some societies in Nigeria, some communities, female genital mutilation is practiced as a rite to passage to womanhood. So if there can be alternative practices, since there aren't alternative practices, then that is another reason why I feel like it is still very much practiced in Nigeria.
All right, so I think let's first talk about the physical and psychological effects that these have, because maybe a lot of people don't even know what it is. They're just like, oh yeah, it's you being circumcised. It's something that is cultural. It's something that, you know, our women have passed through for years and they survived. So what is the big deal? But walk us through the physical and the psychological effect of female genital mutilation.
Female genital mutilation expands. It's broader than just physical and psychological. It also has to do with there's also the societal damage it does, right? So the physical damage it does, since there are types, 4 types of female genital mutilation as categorized by World Health Organization, right? So these although some of the types are not, I wouldn't say they are not extreme. Every type of female genital mutilation is extreme, but the physical damage it does on these women and girls is mostly health related, because because effects of female genital mutilation goes ahead to cause urinary tract infection, genital issues, infections, because these tools that they use in carrying out this practice, it's mostly it is handed down from and most times they mutilate so many girls at the same time. So there's infection, there is urinary tract infection, and then there's most times it also leads to death because of the extremity of this practice. And for psychological damages, when it comes to the stage the stage three of type 3 of female genital mutilation, most of these women, they are being sold. So psychologically, they are not able to speak. There's a case of a lady who wasn't able to give birth, and it affected her psychologically. She started having signs of psychosis because she was mutilated, and the stage of her mutilation, she wasn't able to, just a small opening was left for her to pass urine. So that affected her mentally and also physically, because she wasn't able, in as much as she wanted to give birth,
I feel like enough
so there are more
information.
cases like this that
Victoria, I feel like enough information is not put out there and explanations are not done well. Because if you're talking about female genital mutilation, it involves the removal of some parts of the genital tract and all that. And you're telling me now, a lay person who is not a doctor, that some parts were removed from someone and it made the place so small that she couldn't give birth. We need more details when you're addressing this, because sometimes these things are tied to traditional beliefs. Yeah. How much of these beliefs have you addressed to make sure that this thing stops? Because sometimes some people who advocate female genital mutilation talk about promiscuity, that is, it is more these days and all that. People who say that it should not be done are saying that it leads to complications in childbirth, which our mothers may not have experienced that much, because those people will be talking about the fact that we had mothers that had undergone this. There was no problem at all. So how much information are you putting out there so that it will make the people see more advantages of not doing it, rather than just saying it's criminal and all that? What advantages are you putting out there for this thing not to be done?
Advantages, informations that are being put out there is mostly survival stories from survivors. Like I said now, I talked about someone who underwent stage 3 of stage 4 of female genital mutilation, where her genitals were sewn and just a small opening was left there. So that's a survival. That was her story. We have more stories of people who underwent female genital mutilation, who have varying experiences, from psychological damage it did to them, to the mental damage it did to them, to the physical damage, like every form of damage, the social damage, those who were not able to associate with their peers. What made me start my campaign with Nguvu Collective was me experiencing a once bubbly child who underwent female genital mutilation, and she went back to her shell. You could see this bubbly child was no longer bubbly anymore. She found it difficult coming close to people, to adults who she normally would come close to. It's not like a mental issue on that baby girl, right? So what we do to curb female genital mutilation, to put out awareness there, is it's talking about survivors, start carrying out research, like NDHS, we have UNICEF, World Health Organization, Nguvu Collective, like me being a change leader with Nguvu Collective now. we carry out research, we have survival stories for survival. So
All
people know
right.
that we are not just saying that these are issues. We are telling you that these are people who have undergone these issues, and these are their stories. These are what they have actually gone through.
Okay, so 2025's theme is step up the pace. So if we're trying to accelerate progress right now, what are some strategies or new initiatives that you think we've not done or we've not tried in the past that we need to start doing now? And how can people collaborate? Because of course, it's not just one person that's going to spread the word. We need sensitization, especially when we're going into these rural communities, letting them know that, you're going to be damaging not just physically, you're not going to be damaging her physically, but even mentally as well. It's going to affect this girl or this woman psychologically. So how are NGOs, how is the government, how is everybody putting their hands together to say we want to end this right now?
Okay, so like the 2025 theme states that the 2025 theme states that we should step up the pace, right? It's talking about collaboration, it's talking about partnerships, government agencies, the public, general public as well, independent advocates, NGOs coming together to it's like we always know that when people come together to speak against a particular cause, the message is past is more audible. Is more audible. So the 2025 thing is telling us that we should come together to curb this menace called female genital mutilation. And a way, like another way we can enhance our advocacy message, we can speak to those in rural areas. Like I would use a story. I would talk about a part where I in my earlier stage before I started my campaign, I reported this issue of female genital mutilation, and it was dismissed as a family problem, and I shouldn't be meddling in family issues, right? So if I feel like educating the law enforcement agents, there is a law, the VAP Act, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, that prohibits female genital mutilation, right? That criminalizes it. So if these law enforcement agents are being trained, they are being educated on the dangers of female genital mutilation and how they can be part of the fight. And these law enforcement agents, especially those in the rural communities, and also education, basically education, because what people don't know about, they would not be able to understand. So we keep on educating them in the rural areas, and also making sure that perpetrators are being brought to book. And also another way of amplifying our advocacy message is to make sure that those at the top, those at the legislative level, they try to enhance the VAP Act for us instead of trying to push for repeal of the VAP Act. We should look at it, and most countries right now, they place heavy criminal charges, heavy charges on those who perpetrate female genital mutilation. So I feel like we can borrow a coin, we can borrow a leaf from our other African countries, and help to place more stringent punishment on perpetrators of female genital mutilation. So I feel like in that way, educating them and coming together basically to amplify our message.
Yeah. I love the fact that you spoke about education. So for you, if you're to debunk certain myths or misconception about female genital mutilation on women and girls, especially in 2025. I mean, this is not something you're supposed to be hearing of right now. What are those misconceptions? For instance, something that Yamgo said was promiscuity, that, women who do not undergo this, they never, in fact, they used to say it's in my town, they never stay in their husband's houses, they're very promiscuous and all of that. So what are some myths that you would like to debunk today when it comes to educating and sensitizing the people?
Some myths I would love to debunk today, like you stated earlier, promiscuity. It has not been medically proved from time immemorial to this day that that I know of that mutilating the female genitals curbs promiscuity. Promiscuity, I feel like that is deeply rooted in patriarchy and um, and the will to deny women bodily autonomy. So genitals does not have anything to do with promiscuity. Being promiscuous is a thing of the mind, I believe, right? It's the thing of the mind. It doesn't have to do any with the genitals. Also, there are other forms of female genital mutilation that we do not speak about that I want to debunk today,
Yeah.
and that is breast ironing, right?
Yes.
I witnessed it a lot where in where I when I grew up, where parents would use stuff to grind the initial coming out of the breast of female, right? They say that there will not be eyes on them, right? So that's a myth I want to debunk today also, and I want to say that even children who do not have breasts are being essayed, right? So it doesn't have to do with the breast. It is not the fault of the child that
All
they are
right.
being they are being pursued by
Yeah.
elderly ones,
So,
right?
so
Yes, so
yeah.
it
So
is not
when you
their
were
fault.
speaking, talking about the whole patriarchy and stuff, I was just chuckling at myself because, I mean, there are men who are promiscuous as well. I don't think that has to do with anything. So it depends on your mind. It depends on who you are as a person and what you want for yourself. So I don't think
Yes.
that means because women do not. They don't get circumcised. I don't think that's what puts them out there. If they want to be promiscuous, they will be. Let's be honest.
There will be
But
progress.
yeah, but because we have to wrap up now, we have 5 more years to 2030. What are some things that you would love to see, and what is your message to people who still believe in this cultural tradition that yes, we need to circumcise our girls?
Okay, so what I want to see moving forward, and that I have always been talking about, is I want to see where I want to see a Nigeria where offenders are being brought to book, because female genital mutilation is still widely practiced. So I feel like when people are being held, when people are being prosecuted for this issue, then there would be significant changes. Although there are significant changes, but there will be more changes. Also, I want to see I want to see a review of the VAP Act, especially when it comes to criminalizing female genital mutilation, because I feel like number one, it is not female genital mutilation is not explained in details. It is not explained basically in details in the VAP Act. And also I feel like the penalties are not stringent enough. Right. So that is what I want to see moving forward. And for people who still practice female genital mutilation, I want to tell us that we are robbing girls of their rights. We are robbing them of their future. We are robbing them. We are making them grow up not feeling safe. And I want us to join hands together to build a world in Nigeria where where girls, young girls, and women grow up without fear. They grow up without harm
Yeah.
and away from the violence of major
All right, thank you so much for that. I think that's a good way to end it. It's 2025. Female genital mutilation should be something of the past, and we hope that people who still are are still embracing this type of culture, they start to end it, and they know that they want the girls and the women to be safe because it affects them mentally, it affects them physically, it could even lead to death and diseases. So what we want to ensure is that our women and girls in Nigeria feel safe, and hopefully come 2030, this would be a thing of the past. Female genital mutilation would be you know, at its very end, and it would not be practiced anymore. Anyways, Augustine, I want to say thank you so much, Victoria, for coming. It's a pleasure having you on our show. Thank you. All right, so we're speaking with Augustine Victoria. She's a change leader with Ngovu Collective, and we've just been looking at the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, which is on the 6th, but we're obviously raising awareness right now and sensitizing people about it. Thank you so much for having the breakfast with us. My name is Rome Paulson.
And I am Nyamgul Agaji. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day. Good morning.